Hello, welcome to Zcash Review. So, as we know, Sony did a teardown of the PS5 earlier in the month. There, they showed us what the console looks like inside and the reason why it was built, and complete teardown of the console. If you haven't seen that video, the video will be right here. A Japanese publication had an interview with the engineer who did the teardown on the video. His name is Yasuhiro Otori. In the publication, he talks about the PS5 in general, about the way it's built, the reason why it's built the way it is, why they took so long to implement the liquid metal, which was 2 years. There's a quick comparison between the PS5 and the Xbox Series X in the way it's built. He briefly talks about that. It's not a huge part of the article. They mostly focus on the PS5 and the way it's built. But what I found very interesting was that they speak about Sony being able to throttle the speed of the fan depending on the performance of the game that the system is playing. This is exactly what he said. In addition to the temperature sensor inside the APU, PS5 has three temperature sensors on the main board to control the fan speed based on the internal temperature of the APU and the highest temperature of the three temperature sensors. It is interesting to note that these fan control parameters will also be updated via online updates. Otori. Various games will be released in the future, and data on the APU's behavior in each game will be collected. We have a plan to optimize the fan control based on this data. The PS5 thermal's design, including the speed of the air-cooled fans, is said to have a generous margin of safety. If a game is under heavy load for a long period of time, they can increase the fan speed to enhance cooling performance, even at the expense of quietness. So, technically, what they're saying to us here is that they can change the speed of the fan at any time they feel like doing it, right? Based on how the console performs under heavy loads, depending on the game that's playing. So, if a game is creating a lot of strain, or I guess in this case, thermal strain on the console, then they can make the fans speed faster for that game. If it's a game that doesn't cause a lot of thermal issues for the console, then they'll decrease the speed of the fan, I'm assuming, which is a very interesting way of making sure that the system isn't going to fail and that it's going to perform well at all times and depending on the game that you're playing. But at the same time, it kind of sounds like they are going to test how the system performs when you're playing the game, which is kind of an issue if you think about it. Why? So, okay, let me break this down in two parts. Okay, part one is it's a great idea. It's great that they are going to be able to change the speed and make the fan run faster or slower depending on the game that you're playing, because this in a way will extend the life of the PS5 and its parts so the system won't overheat. So that's great that they can go ahead and then they can go in and tweak things out on the fly to make the system work better. Great way of using technology that you can use today to increase the life of a product. My concern with this is that, one, how long after a game comes out and is played, how long after that do you send the update? In this case, the patch for the fan. By the time that this patch comes out, will it even be important? Will it even be useful to me as a player to update the game if I'm not playing it anymore? And what is it that you're going to take into consideration when it comes to patching the game based on temperature? Because not everybody is going to use a console the same way. I might be very concerned about my electronics getting too hot and all these things, right? And I might keep my electronics in the place in the house where it gets a lot of air, so under a ceiling fan, or maybe under an AC vent, so it gets cold air every once in a while. Or I might be the opposite way and not really care about thermals at all and just keep my consoles and everything in an enclosed space in my house where it's constantly getting a lot of hot air. How do you take that into consideration? Because also the place that I live in, plays a factor on the thermals of that system. If I live in a cold place, I'm around the heat, which will make my environment warmer than someone who lives in a place that's usually warm, where they don't use a heater. All those things will influence the thermals of the console. So how is that going to affect how you pick the speed of the fan? And the other thing is that you've been talking about how quiet the system is and how quiet it's going to be, and quiet. But in your interview here, you say that you might change the performance even at the expense of quietness. So does this mean that we're going to go back to the jet engine type fan that the PS4 Pro is so infamous for having? So there might be some games that I might play where the fans are going to be super loud. That defeats the whole purpose of you having a quiet console. And my other concern here is, why are you waiting to get the game to the player's hands? Why isn't this being tested before the game comes to me? Why aren't you doing some in-house testing to make sure that this game isn't creating a strain on the system? Why am I testing this for you, for then you to go and patch it up and fix it? I don't understand. Sony's doing a lot of good things in this generation, but I am kind of baffled by a lot of things that they're doing as a we'll release it now and fix it later kind of approach. They did that with backwards compatibility. They were like, hey, we're going to release these games, you can play them, but at your own risk. They will work. We don't know if it's going to be great or bad, like, hey, make sure the game works well before you buy add-ons. Same thing here. It's like, here are the games, play them. If they do create a strain on the system, we'll patch it later. Why can you test it before giving it to me? It's not like Sony never sees the game before it releases to people's hands. It's like, come on. Like, how long will it take for them to test the game on a console? A week? 2 weeks? I do have a lot of questions, clearly, about this subject. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Do you think that Sony is kind of being too hands-off with their approach to a lot of things? Or is this something that they usually do? Or do you think it's not a big issue, that you don't care that they are pretty much using us as testers when it comes to the console? Let me know in the comment section. That's it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we put a new video. And thank you very much for watching.